to everyone. A very warm welcome from Dublin and from UCD School of Economics. Let me just share my slides. All right. So I'm going to start off this webinar by highlighting some key advantages of our three master programs in applied economics, behavioral economics, and data analytics, and why you should join our school. So the first big advantage is that you will be joining Ireland's leading economics department in terms of research. Your lecturer, there's around 35 lecturers in the School of Economics, and they are leading experts in their field. So we specialize in a wide variety of fields within economics, so in labor, health, but also energy, macroeconomics. Lecturers in the School of Economics are also very actively engaged in Irish policy making. So if you want to get a feel of that, follow the UCD School of Economics has a very active page on LinkedIn. And if you follow us, you see that, people in the school are always present in the media. We collaborate with institutions such as Central Bank of Ireland, fiscal councils. A lot of us do consulting for the Irish government. And as a master's student, you are really an integral part of this very strong research culture within the school, but also kind of applied policy making. So you see some pictures here on the slides of myself and current and former students at events that are organized by the school. So where we had talks from chief economists at the European Stability Mechanism, the European Bank of Reconstruction and Development, and of course you recognize us with ECB President, Madame Christine Lagarde. A big part of kind of integration of the master students in our research culture is the fact that students can attend research seminars where we invite leading experts every week, and master students exceptionally take part in these research seminars. The other big advantage of our MSc programs is that they are very flexible, and I think maybe that's unusual for master's programs in economics. So you can do the program obviously full-time and part-time. We have a few part-time students that join us every year, work most of them in public sector or multinationals here in Dublin. We also have a partnership with Frontier Economics, who sponsors their employees to join our programs part-time. This is a consulting company. But kind of the biggest advantage of our programs, which again is unusual for master's programs in economics, and it's a feature of the program that I think a lot of our students really appreciate, is this option to choose whether you want to do a thesis or an internship over the summer. And I'm going to talk about the various supports that we offer for both options, and the students, I'm sure, will corroborate me on that. But here, just I give you some examples of the type of internships that our students find. So in a typical year, about 60 to 70% of students who wish to do an internship or from our program will choose the option of doing an internship and find an internship. And you have some examples here of the places they go. So internships can be done in Dublin, and most of them are, but also abroad. A lot of them will be within the public sector, so the Irish government, consulting companies, think tanks like the Economic and Social Research Institute highlighted there, the ESRI. Internships are also, we also have the opportunity to do research internships within the School of Economics. So these are paid or unpaid research internships. So students are now getting their offers. So it's a very exciting time in the schools where the students contact me and let me know of the really varied and very interesting research internships that they've obtained, research and kind of research in general internships that they obtain for this summer. The other big advantage of our programs is that you can really tailor your educational journey to in line with kind of your interest within economics. So we have an unusually large number of elective modules in the spring trimester. So students joining the program, so you have an example here, the MSc in Applied Economics structure, where students across the three programs would have core modules in the first trimester in autumn that are really meant to kind of make sure that everybody has kind of the same background in kind of core concepts in micro, macro, and econometrics. But then in the spring trimester, you really have the opportunity to specialize and pick modules that are in line with your interests within economics. So you see you have a really wide range of elective modules, from health and welfare to energy, a lot of econometrics and causal inferences classes, because kind of a big part of our efforts here in the school is really to teach you how to read data through the lens of an economist and to use causal inferences tools when trying to get something out of large data sets. So there's a really wide range of electives in global economic history, banking, and financial stability. And so then students can really specialize in areas that they are interested in. That also means that you have the opportunities to really have kind of small classroom teaching. So a typical cohort in the School of Economics across the 3 programs would be around 50 to 60 students in a year. And then because we have so many elective classes, second trimester classes are really small classroom teaching. So you have a lot of opportunities to have one-to-one kind of contact with your lecturers. We also obviously offer research supervisions through throughout the year. So for those of you who decide to do a thesis, you'll get assigned a supervisor early on in autumn and meet with them. But even students who want to do an internship through these research and career skills classes that are a core module for everyone gets assigned a supervisor, and you meet with the lecturer throughout the year. And the goal of this class, one of the goals, is to help you kind of think about a research idea, develop it to some extent, write a literature review, such that you're all set up to write the thesis over the summer, should you choose to do so. The other kind of advantage of our program, and I'm hoping that the students will highlight this as well, is that we provide extensive support both for writing a thesis through this one-to-one supervision that I mentioned, but also in finding an internship. So the internship is ultimately the responsibility of the student, but in the school, we provide a lot of support. We organize a lot of events, such as the one you have pictured here, where we bring alumni from the program to talk about their careers. Through the research and career skills classes, which is a year-long module, every Friday we have invited speakers. A lot of them are graduates from our programs who work in different industries. They provide a really nice overview to students of the different jobs that are available, but also are a very nice networking opportunities, and people in the past were able to secure internships through this valuable kind of contacts that we provide them. We have a number of scholarships available. Obviously, international students would have received offers from our global office. For EU and Irish students, we still have a few days until the 16th to apply to our School of Economics scholarships. We have a scholarship dedicated for the women with the highest GPA admitted to our programs, and one for the MSc Behavioral program. There's also support in the form of undergraduate tutor positions that are available for top students in the program. And as I was mentioning, over the summers, there's opportunity to undertake a research internship, which is paid with colleagues in the School of Economics. And then finally, kind of the biggest advantage, I'd say, of joining UCD School of Economics and Ireland, if you're from abroad, is really Ireland's strategic location as a European hub for many large multinationals, which I'm sure you are aware of. And I think, studying and working here really opens the door to global career opportunities. And as I said, we have strong contacts with a lot of the companies that are present here. We occasionally do visiting with the students to these companies, or organize events where we invite alumni who work in various companies in Dublin to come in and give talks and network with our students. So a lot of the focus of today's webinar will be on careers and job opportunities. And I'm going to let our recent graduates talk about that. But let me just mention before finishing off, kind of just giving some examples of the types of jobs that our graduates typically get. So they will kind of fall into three main categories. So we have people working in the public sector, and you have a lot of examples here of government, central bank type of jobs, a lot of regulators. Economics related private sector. So this would be a lot of think tanks like the Economic and Social Research Institute, but also consulting companies like Grant Thornton, Indecon, Frontier Economics, and then general private sector. So there's demand for economists and for people who know how to look at data as an economist in a lot of industries, and you have many examples there of jobs. Of course, some of the students opt to do a PhD afterwards, and we provide a lot of support for those students who want to apply for a PhD. And you have examples of really amazing past placements of our MSc students in top PhD programs around the world. So maybe I'll stop here. Here's more examples of jobs of the two recent cohorts of students from this year and the last. But I'm gonna maybe stop here and then pass on the floor to our current students who will tell you a little bit more about how it is to study in UCD School of Economics. So I'm gonna start with May.
Hi everyone, happy to be here. I'm just going to quickly share some slides with you. So I am Maeve. I'm a current student in the MSc Economics and Data Analytics. And so yeah, a little about me. I had a slightly non-linear path to the MSc. I originally did a BA in Economics, Politics and Law at DCU, and then did a brief internship, and then after that, I knew I wanted to live abroad, grow my language skills. So I then worked in Dublin and then Berlin for a few years. So I returned then to the MSc here because during that time, I realized my career goals kind of crystallized, and I knew I wanted to work in the greater energy transition. And so, yes, as you heard there, we have plenty of flexible modules in the program. And so, yeah, I had the opportunity to then specialize in energy economics, which has worked out really well. I've just accepted an offer as a group development analyst with Kingspan. So I'll be working in materials for low energy buildings. So yeah, why UCD and why the program? Having done the BA in economics, politics, law, I had a pretty strong economics foundation, but I knew I wanted to grow the quantitative skill set that a lot of economics jobs do require. Um, the along with that, yeah, I wanted to build on the foundation I already had. I wanted to add to the quantitative skill set, but I also wanted to take the opportunity to focus on the sector that I wanted. So not only did I do the energy economics module that the program offers, but I was also able to audit environmental economics, which for this year anyway wasn't part of the economics data analytics program, but I was still able to attend that. And then, yeah, again, why UCD? Again, I was returning to Ireland from Germany, so I wanted to establish a career in Ireland and to take advantage of the UCD network within Ireland. So you've heard there about the connections the college has and how a lot of places recruit directly from the program. So what I've enjoyed most, definitely the people, I have to say, first of all, we have a really lovely cohort and a great alumni network. So people who've done the program before myself and Vandela, yeah, many people from the course have been reaching out to graduates, and everybody has been very supportive and helpful regarding applications, modules. And then within the cohort, yeah, there's just a great morale generally. The course is challenging, but it is rewarding. That's what makes it worth it at the end of the day. And also the coursework is useful. So it's been great to be assigned projects that then have been helpful to build a kind of portfolio for yourself, and to add that to your CV and applications. So what I'm doing now, as you heard there, I've accepted a job. I was originally going to do the thesis actually. I'm now registered for the internship module so I can start that job earlier. Again, the program is able to compensate for things like that. But again, I was first planning on the thesis. I wouldn't discount it. It is a great way to kind of demonstrate interest in your chosen field. So yeah, I recommend definitely putting the time into think about the thesis and what your interests are, what you want to do, even if you're planning on taking the internship module. For instance, I knew I wanted to research the kind of uptake of low carbon domestic tech. And I was able to then talk about that in my applications and in my interviews, and it was really, really helpful. And then that has kind of distilled now into a presentation I'll be doing for the MSc Jamboree at the end of the month on regional patterns and forecasting battery electric vehicle adoption in Ireland. So yeah, finally, based on all that advice for students coming in, the coursework, as I said, challenging but rewarding. Um, don't worry, but yeah, if I could go back maybe the first week or so, I would open up one of my intermediate micro textbooks just to refresh, especially if, like me, it's maybe been some years since you did your bachelor's. Be strategic and intentional. So yeah, think about what your interests are, think about the thesis. Um, when you have flexibility for assignments, choose what maybe will look good for you. So that yeah, you can build a kind of portfolio for yourself and for the applications that you have in mind. And further to that, yeah, there will be so many options for things to apply for. Um, think about what your priorities are and what you're most excited about. And then thirdly, as I said, your cohort is going to be great. The alumni network is great. So yeah, reach out to people for advice on assignments or maybe applications. Um, and then yeah, enjoy basically and good luck. So that's it from me, and I'm going to hand over now to Vendela from the MSc Applied.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Vendela. I'm in the Applied Economics Master. I remember sitting in this exact meeting, I guess 1 year ago. So it's fun to be here and be able to talk to some prospective students. I'm originally from Sweden, born and raised, and then for my undergrad, I moved to Prague, where I did my bachelor in economics and finance. And when I finished that, or like when I was getting closer to finishing, I knew that I wanted to move somewhere else. And looking around, like coming from the EU, there was like so many benefits to Dublin, and I'd heard such good things about it. And I think with the masters, I was also excited that there was so much choice, like Juana mentioned. So, and then I heard good things about the masters as well. I liked also that it was 1 year and the internship opportunity that we have. Those were like really important for me, I would say. And I would say what I like the most, like being here, it's like Maeve mentioned, like our cohort is great. Everyone's here for the same reason, but everyone's so different, which is really cool. Like people from literally everywhere. So you learn a lot in class, but you also learn a lot from each other, which I really do appreciate. And I think it's also nice because it's so easy to fall into, like when you're studying economics, you're focusing on like the US and the EU, but then when you have classmates from everywhere, you learn so much more, I would say. I do also like the campus lifestyle that is here at UCD. I didn't have that in my undergrad. So we do have a gym on campus, which is free for all students, great libraries, great places to like sit and study, so many restaurants, cafes, which like have really good prices for food, which I do appreciate a lot. And there's like so many small things that you just like stumble upon, which are really cool as well. So I'm also doing the internship. It was a tedious process, like looking for internships, but I think a previous student mentioned that you should try to like get off the beaten path and look for like smaller companies and don't just go for the big ones and go where everyone else is going. So I did that. I reached out to a Swedish bank that has a branch here, and I ended up getting an internship in data analytics with them. So that's going to be interesting for the summer. And I would just like suggest that to everyone to try to broaden your horizon and don't just be like, yeah, I want to go into this company. That's my only option. And I think from this master, like you learn so much. And I think it is like coming from UCD, especially applying to jobs in Ireland, like it is a well-known university. They know where you're from. They can like rely on that you've learned a lot of things. And we do learn a lot. I would say like it is very intense, like Maeve mentioned as well. We learn like programming in R, which is really helpful. A lot of jobs are looking for that as well. So I would say my like big tips are really try to go through things before you get here. Like Maeve mentioned, brush up on your old like microeconometrics, and there will be like some maths and stats that you will probably benefit a lot from just going through quickly before you start. And I would say another tip is also, like Maeve mentioned as well, do reach out to people. Like Irish people in general are very helpful. I would say people that are in Ireland, even if they're not Irish, are very helpful. Your like classmates are very helpful, alumni very helpful, professors. Like I was a bit scared in the beginning of reaching out, which I think is normal. But the more you do it, you realize, oh, people actually, if they can help, they will help. And like utilize the resources that are here. There's so many resources, not only free gym, but also counseling or all the restaurants or whatever, like sports and societies that you want to join. Do it. It's a lot. It's really fun as well. You might not have so much time, especially the first semester, but definitely like try if you can. And you'll have most likely classmates that are interested in something similar and you can do it together. And I think, yeah, that's what I have to say. And I don't know if my name is shared anywhere, but if you want my contacts, just reach out to maybe Juan or Emma, who has it, hopefully, and reach out to me. I'm always open to help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vendela. That's been really useful to hear the students' perspective. So we're going to now open it up to our alumni, and we're going to do a short sort of Q&A with our recent alumni. So I'm delighted to welcome back our two alumni that we're going to talk to today. Carson, who qualified with the MSc in data analytics from 2025. And we also have Vaishnavi, who is a behavioral economics alum from 2025 as well. So I suppose first, I'd really like for you both to introduce yourself, maybe a little bit about your undergrad, how you came to decide to come to UCD, and just the industry or the organizations you're working for. So Vaishnavi, I might come to you first.
Thanks, Emma. So, hi everyone. I am Vaishnavi, and I'm currently working as a business analyst and MMM with Kellanova, or popularly known as Kellogg's. And so, my journey to kind of doing MSc Behavioral Economics was kind of fun, I would say. So, I had completed my bachelor's in economics from India. Post that, I was working with a market research firm called Nielsen IQ. Since it revolved everywhere around FMCG, that sort of piqued my interest in consumer behavior. And since it revolved around consumer behavior, and I was always very fascinated by how people think, how people operate, and how people make decisions. So I knew that behavioral economics is something I want to specialize in, and UCD had this wonderful course. So that's how I got to UCD and did my MSc in behavioral economics.
Thanks, Vaishnavi. And Carson.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carson, and I'm currently an applied economist at NVCon, which is a small economics consulting firm here in Dublin. I originally got my undergraduate degrees at Xavier University in Cincinnati, in the United States. There I studied finance and German, and I had a minor in political economy. But having lived in Europe for some time before, I knew that I wanted to focus my career on international finance and economics. So after undergrad, I studied a master's in European studies with a certificate in global development. at the School of Foreign Service at Georgetown. And while there, I started working as a research consultant and data scientist with the World Bank. I immediately fell in love with the more technical side of economics, and I knew that if I wanted to pursue a career in that, a master's degree would be beneficial. So I decided to pursue the master's degree at UCD. I knew that UCD had a great reputation, especially within the School of Economics, both in terms of academic rigor, but also in terms of being able to transfer the degree into a high impact career. And so that's why I decided to come to UCD and decided to do my master's here in Ireland.
Great. And just following on from that, Carson, though, so what did you most enjoy about the master's program, in particular last year?
Yeah, I think as being an international student, having the core classes with all of our course mates was key, both in terms of helping each other work through the content and advance well throughout the program, but also helping in terms of making Dublin feel more like a home. Now that I have a career here in Dublin, I definitely appreciate having had courses with everyone. The economics world here in Dublin, feels small, so it's great to know that we have people kind of in that corner. And it was a great time to be able to have people to help make Dublin feel like home, even after the Masters.
Thanks. Vaishnavi, sort of similar question to you. In terms of the specific course content, what did you most enjoy about the master's?
So talking about the course content, I really feel it was very holistic. It had literally everything that I was looking for. And since I'm very passionate about economics, psychology, and mathematics, my course was somewhere sitting at the intersection of all three. The professors were amazing. The cohort was amazing. It was, as Carson mentioned, that it was lovely to be able to have courses with everyone from different backgrounds and getting exposure to different fields as well. Because I remember I had an optional in energy economics, and there were people from engineering, people from the policy side, and economics. So doing assignments with all of them definitely enhanced our knowledge as well. And other than that, I think UCD is an amazing has an amazing campus, as it was mentioned by both the current students. It has all incredible facilities. The professors are incredibly supportive, and the classes were very engaging and thought-provoking. So it definitely was a great experience.
And just in terms of the thesis component, could you maybe talk us through a little bit about what you decided to do your thesis on, Vaishnavi, and I suppose, your decision to follow that, and the support from the school?
Regarding the thesis and the internship, I was thinking of doing a thesis, but I did an internship, and I was lucky enough to do an internship under Dr. Oana and Professor Orla Doyle. So, and as you said, it was like a blend between a thesis and an internship, since I was working as a research assistant under both of them. And one of my major works was writing a paper or co-authoring a paper with Professor Orla Doyle on the impact of, or like a follow-up study on the Preparing for Life, which she has been working on. And other than that, it gave me a lovely exposure to different things. I also had an opportunity to work with the ISWE, which is the Irish Society for Women in Economics. So it gave me an exposure to different people. I could connect with a lovely cohort of people. I could attend several seminars at the central bank. And I also worked on non-banking financial institutions in Europe. So it was a lovely mix of different things. And I could enhance my skills in terms of research and academic writing, along with data collection and just networking with lovely people.
And in terms of the internship, you're just if you can take us through how you applied, where you applied, and just the process and how you found.
Um, yeah, so I was in, I would say, crossroads to basically understand if I want to get into research or do I want to get into like a corporate world. And I reached out to my professor saying that I want to get exposure to how an academic research really works. And I had written to them regarding what are the few things that I want to achieve throughout the internship, and they were more than happy to take me. And we sort of jotted down a lovely plan of what we can do and how my skills can not just be enhanced, but also help them um, in getting certain things sorted. So definitely it was very helpful that way.
Thank you. And Carson, can you take us through the internship versus the thesis option for you and which path you decided to go down?
Yeah, so my summer was a bit unorthodox in that I took the thesis option while working alongside of it. So originally I was going to just do the internship with NVCon, actually where I'm working now. But about a week before that start date, I learned that, at least at the time, with US federal loans, the internship option would have been worth too many credits. So I didn't want to give up the work opportunity though, so I decided to do the thesis to complete the course and then work alongside of it. It definitely was a lot of work, but it was great to be able to complete a major research project, especially related to things that are grounded within your interests in economics. It looks really good to be able to talk about your specific interests and to be able to develop the techniques, especially within that field. And it was also great at the time to get some work experience in Ireland, as that's currently the same company where I'm working now.
Great. So you applied to Econ for the as part of the internship and then diverted to the thesis. Do you think the thesis topic helped you with your interview or the other vice versa?
I think so. Yeah, I think that being able to show that you're able to complete high level research on your own is something that employers are looking for. Being able to convert data, as Awana had mentioned earlier, taking large data sets and turning it into a story, a compelling story that helps explain the economic environment that we're in, is really key to a lot of applied economics roles. And so the coursework helps with that, but the thesis definitely helps as you're able to really hone in on some of those skills and develop them in a more integrated way.
Great. And Shanavi, in terms of your current role, do you think that the curriculum of the master's helped you prepare for your current role? And we get a lot of questions about is this course or the courses in economics more theoretical or practical? So maybe you can just give a little insight into how this course really prepared you.
So the best part about this course was that it not just tested the theory, but also the practical applications. And I majorly liked economics because I can apply it to my daily life. And the courses I undertook, like decision theory, causal inference, behavioral economics, and its policy application, along with psychology, were one of my top favorites. And I believe that they really enhanced my chances at where I'm working. And it definitely gave me an edge because in the role that I am, since it's extremely consumer focused, it my course structure helped me understand how people think and how people make decisions, especially in a world that revolves around FMCG, which is largely a monopolistic competition. You have very highly competitive products. So understanding the consumer viewpoint of how they would choose your product and how they majorly think in a lot of ways definitely helped me. And the career and research skills that used to happen, the classes that used to take place in on every Friday really helped us because they used to train us regarding interview preparation, CV preparation, and just getting insights on that definitely helped us.
Thanks, Vaishali. And just to, I suppose, pick up on what Uwana mentioned earlier in terms of the school provides a lot of career supports, advice, and clinics and modules on building your CV, etc. And just like to add that the UC Careers Network as well here on campus provides a great service in terms of recruitment fairs and one-to-one interviews with graduate students and career panels and career development modules and seminars. Carson, did you avail of any of the services that UCD provides, like the UCD Careers Network, or maybe you can talk about some of the facilities that maybe you enjoyed on campus, like the library or the sports?
Yeah, so I definitely recommend taking advantage of those services. I think having kind of a nonlinear pathway into UCD, I had already availed of those services at different points along of my career path. But I definitely think it's worth taking a one-on-one session, especially with the people in the careers offices, because they can really help you set your resume, and help you kind of focus in on the things that you want to develop within your career. The courses that we had at UCD, where they brought in different people to talk about their career sets, definitely helped me develop where I thought I wanted to go with my career. And then as far as the facilities at UCD, the library is a really great place to study. They had renovated one of the floors, so it's a really nice facilities, some of the best that I've definitely studied in. And it's great to be able to study there with your friends, as I said, to kind of help each other through the process, through some of the more difficult courseworks. I think one of the great things about the program, as you had mentioned, is also that the faculty are available and willing to help. With both of my universities that I had went to before, they were relatively small. So I was kind of scared that at a bigger university it would feel a bit impersonal or that the support wouldn't be there. But that couldn't have been further from the case. And I definitely think that they're there to see you succeed. And so as long as you take advantage of the resources that are there, you'll definitely succeed in the program.
Great. And Vaishnavi, what did you most enjoy about being a student in UCD? Again, just the campus environment or, again, within the School of Economics. So, did you live on campus or off campus? Maybe that might have had a bearing.
So I was living on campus, so UCD was my very first home in Ireland. So I've used the campus literally every single day. And if I talk about the campus and the facilities, as Carson also mentioned, that the library is lovely. And I think most of our classmates used to just be in the library studying. But other than that, I used to go to the gym. There are loads of sports facilities. I used to play badminton. Um, there's a lovely Olympic-sized pool, so you can always avail that facility. And other than that, I remember getting class studies done for everyone. So I was also I was also a class representative in the Students' Union. And and there are loads of clubs and societies that people can join and network with. So this is where I think people can branch out in terms of their hobbies as well as just knowledge base, because there are societies like the Economic Society, then Mathematics Society, Data Science Society, along with Art Club, Drama Club, Movie Club, literally everything you can name. And with the School of Economics, as Carson also mentioned, that the faculty is extremely helpful and you can just reach out to them in terms of anything in case you want to reach out to one of the alumni working in a certain industry or regarding questions around your coursework. How do you build your knowledge base in certain topics, so on and so forth. And working at the School of Economics as an intern was also very, very um, enriching experience, and it helped me network with a lot of people in the industry, and working a little bit with the Irish Society of Women in Economics also helped in that. So also there is some sort of mentorship program that goes on with the ISWE as well. So it is an incredible experience and just a lovely time.
Thanks, Vaishnavi. So, Carson, just in terms of how the master's in economics and data analytics has really benefited your career, and just maybe some advice that you would give a prospective student who is considering this particular master's in the school.
Sure, yeah. I think some of the best skills that I developed through the master's program are a lot of the econometric skills. The course is definitely very intense, and at the time it can seem like things are very technical. But I can promise you that in the applied economics world, you'll eventually be able to apply those skills. And I think learning those technical skills really helped develop my career. I think at my current job right now, actually, we have about 6 staff members who were graduates of either the data analytics or the applied economics streams. And so the reputation with UCD is very strong here in Dublin. I also think that the company that I work for offered the internship to UCD, and that was advertised through the School of Economics. And so these networks that you build will definitely help you as well. And that was essentially very good in my case, as I continued on with that afterwards as well. I would say that my advice at UCD would be, even though the course can be challenging, definitely take advantage of the resources. The faculty are always there to help you. Take advantage of the networks, because the connections that you can build at UCD can definitely lead to a lasting career, or at least set the foundations for it. And if you put the time into it, the course will provide you with all of the skills you need to be a successful economist. So if you're looking for a career as an economist, or eventually somewhere in academia, I think it'll set you up well. Just make sure you take advantage of all the resources and opportunities that it can provide.
Thanks, Carson. And Vaishnavi, finally, as well, the same sort of question in terms of, your advice to prospective students when they're considering this master's and how it can use as a launch pad into multiple different careers and areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm just gonna echo everything everyone has said on the panel as of now. Number one, I would say is keep practicing, even though you might not have a background in economics or, as Carson mentioned, the technical skills. Practice as much as you can and get your fundamentals absolutely clear. And if you want to get into the field of economics, which is core economics, these fundamentals are going to be extremely handy to crack interviews and just in terms of your job. Second is going to be network as much as you can with your professors, with your peers, with your alumni, and also with people in UCD. And third would be take as much use of every facility on campus, whether it is the career counseling or just like getting your CVs done, join societies. It is absolutely beneficial. And last, but I would say the most important, is just be curious all the time. Ask as many questions as you want. Just have that approach of curiosity in everything you're studying, everything you're networking, wherever you're networking, and wherever you want to apply. Curiosity is going to take you places. So, yes, lastly, just be curious.
Thanks so much. Thanks very much, Carson and Vaishnavi. So I'm going to invite everybody back just for the sort of final few minutes here for some questions. We have been answering questions as we're going along, but we had a few questions that were posted in advance. So Uana, if I can just come to you in terms of a lot of questions about the thesis, in terms of are students required to publish the thesis, or can it help with your applications maybe for a PhD application going forward?
Yes, definitely. No, there's no requirement to publish the thesis, obviously. It's work that you do over, 3 months over the summer and throughout the year. It rarely amounts to something that is publishable. But that being said, people can continue working on it, and it can lead to a publishable publication. But it is definitely the way to go if you want to apply for a PhD. So at early start in the year, I think September, October, the PhD director here from the School of Economics will join one of the research and career skills class with a lot of advice on how to best apply for PhD programs. We offer students a lot of support, write nice letters of recommendations. And one of the key pieces of advice is that we encourage people to write a thesis over the summer. I think that's the best proof of you having some familiarity with the research process, and kind of also a piece of a document that shows your skills in research. And we offer a lot of, as I said, one-to-one supervision for people who want to do a thesis. Yeah.
Thank you. And all our panelists here today do have a background in economics. Just in terms of the students who are typically eligible to apply for the master's programs, if you can maybe elaborate if they have a data analytics background but not pure econ, maybe you can just talk us through it.
Yeah, so there's some flexibility on that, and I saw some questions on the chat as well. For the economics and data analytics program, because as you may have seen in the second trimester in spring, there's a lot of electives that are available from the School of Maths and Stats. People who have a background of very quantitative backgrounds will generally tend to do well in those classes. However, first trimester classes, everyone has to take micro and macro, and those classes are taught at the graduate level. So usually people with very strong quantitative backgrounds or very good at maths and statistics tend to do quite well. We do advise them, if they apply and get in, to refresh a little bit their economics background over the summer. So when you apply, you get a really nice MSc handbook that my colleague Leslie put together with a lot of information. And at the end, there's also some required reading. So we advise people to just kind of, and a lot of kind of YouTube videos just to refresh economics background. So it is possible to get in, but you'll need to put in a little bit of work over the summer to refresh your economics background if you have not taken many econ classes before. Yeah.
Thanks. So Maeve, if I could come to you, we've had a question just in terms of, what does a typical week look like in your master's program? So again, maybe which days you're in college or the workload?
I would say it is different for everyone. The first semester, I believe we were in 4 days a week. So they did generously try to schedule the program so that we had Mondays off. That was nice. But come the second semester, it really depends on what modules you take, and whether or not they're online or in person. So the data analytics program has, I believe, more online options. But there is some possibility to kind of create your schedule yourself. Not that I would recommend that, like always follow your interests, but I believe it would be, if you're worried about being on campus a lot, I think it's manageable for sure.
Thanks. And Vendela, in terms of taking modules outside economics, did you or any of your peers maybe audit modules outside of your pure economics offering?
Yes. Mhm. I have a friend, she's been very good at auditing. So she's auditing crop science currently, and she's audited Irish the last semester. And I'm auditing a class from the School of Statistics, even though I'm in applied. So it's like not part of my my electives. But you can audit anything, languages, if there's something else you're interested in. As long as the professors is okay, you can audit it.
As long as it fits with your timetable, that's the main, I
Yes.
suppose, consideration. Absolutely. In terms of the supports in UCD, Maeve, you're already working, but would you maybe just tell us a little bit about some of the benefits that the
Yeah,
students
definitely.
done?
One of the first things I did in the first semester was contact the Careers Network, just for general CV help, applications writing. That was extremely helpful. So I would recommend, getting in early just because you don't want to be worrying about it later, and the supports are definitely there.
Great. And Ioana, just for you, in terms of a sort of a big question about the curriculum being theory orientated or practical orientated in, I suppose, a transforming world, how AI is obviously impacting us all. So can you please maybe illustrate how, or tell us a little bit about how the course is structured, the theory versus practical?
Yes, definitely. So I think that's a big advantage of our programs, that you would have more kind of theoretical driven classes in autumn, where we ensure that everybody has kind of the same basis and background in micro, macro, and econometrics. But then in the spring, you can really specialize in different areas, and all of these electives will be very much applied, right? So you have a lot of policy classes like behavioral economics and policy application, energy economics and policy, health and welfare classes. They are all very much applied, and it's ask how do we use the economics tools that you studied in the first trimester, and how do we apply them to study various areas. So I think that's a big attraction for our programs, is that they are very much applied. And as I mentioned early on, a lot of my colleagues will be very kind of involved in Irish public policy making, and they bring that knowledge to the classroom. Some of the classes have guest speakers from think tanks like the ESRI, Economic and Social Research Institute here in Dublin, who would deliver classes. Again, these would be policymakers or people very much involved with policymakers who would be deliver their classes. So I'd say very, very much applied. When it comes to kind of AI and economics, and there was a good question on the chat on that as well. I think, economists are not programmers. AI is very good at coding. Economists use a lot of coding, and we allow and encourage our students in classes to use kind of AI to be better at coding and to help them. What economists do, they learn how to ask the right questions. A lot of economics training is about, you look at a large data set, there's a lot of data out there. How do you ask the right questions to understand kind of causal links and causality and cause and effect in the data? And that's something that AI doesn't do very well. It may seem that it does. It tells you many things, but unless you have the proper rigorous training and you are guided and you are taught what are the main questions and how you should ask those questions, you can be very easily tricked into asking the wrong questions by AI. So I think in terms of kind of future, it is a tool that we're going to use in the future, especially when it comes to coding. But asking the right questions, that's something that you learn while being a graduate student here in the School of Economics.
Thanks, Ioana. And just one last final question, and it's come up in the Q&A quite a bit in terms of the internships. And I suppose because it is such a very popular option, and we've heard from Carson and Vaishnavi and Vendela and Maeve just about the options around sourcing and securing internships. Can you maybe just give that, I suppose, the reassurance or the confidence that the percentage of students who do want to do it are able to secure it? Just a final note on that.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it is something that we invest a lot of resources in. There is a dedicated internship coordinator in our school. Her role is to kind of guide students. So you'll have classes early on when you join about how the process works. But then, because we've been doing this for a number of years, as Carson mentioned, we have very good partnership and relationships with companies who have taken interns from our program. So how it works is that, every week or so, starting, at the end of autumn and in January, you receive emails from my colleague with internship opportunities. We know when the employers are opening up their internship positions, and we obviously can give advice on the application process. We also have agreement with some companies. So we had consulting companies this year taking interns only from our program. So you're not competing with the rest of the world, but just with your colleagues. And so students get emails almost every week from us with various opportunities. So we provide a lot of support, and students are very successful. I think the only thing that matters a lot is, so employers do look at grades, so you must ensure that you do well in the program. But students who have good grades and they prepare and they go and do the interviews, they secure internship. So as I said, in a typical year, between 60 to 70% of the students in the program get an internship. Of course, there's a number of students who opt for the thesis, mainly because they are thinking about a PhD or a very research-intensive role, and we encourage them to do so. Thesis also has a big advantage because internship is grade neutral, but thesis is graded. So students who get an A+ in the thesis or an A, they usually graduate top of the class, and we have an award at the end. So there's many advantages also to doing a thesis. And some people come in very passionate about a topic, and it's lovely to see them develop that topic throughout the year. But yeah, we offer a lot of support. Offers are now coming in every day. I hear from the students, so it's looking good. And we always know in a typical year that there's a number of students who are going to go to the Irish government, the revenue, a lot of fiscal kind of policy makers in Dublin will take interns from our program, and then the usual kind of public private sector companies. So KPMG is interviewing next week from our program. So there's a lot of opportunities. Of course, students need to do well in their classes to be able to avail of them, and obviously prepare for the interviews. Yeah.